Hello, my name is Lori, and today I am reviewing a book called The Gray Chamber. And it is by Grace Hitchcock. This is the Goodreads. I know you can't get a really good look, but that is what the Goodreads listing is for it. It is part of the True Callers series. It's actually book 4. These are standalone books, but they are a series of books based on true crime, but they're historical fiction, and they're gentle reads, so you don't have the gore and the violence that you see. It's there, but it's not as pronounced as it would be in other books. The Gray Chamber is one of the more disturbing ones for me, and it addresses um, a sad page in American history. Of course, all of them do, but this one is particular. Um, Terrifying if you are someone with mental illness or you know someone has mental illness. It talks about a woman named Edith, and she is an heiress. When her parents died, she's an orphan. Her parents died. She is placed in her uncle's care, and she will be inheriting her fortunes shortly after, in a few months. And she is not your typical heiress, or even a woman of that time period. She likes to ride her bicycle. She takes fencing lessons. She doesn't wear a corset. She don't wear the typical clothing of the time period. She doesn't act like a society woman of that time period acts. And this actually gets her in trouble because her uncle and her aunt decide that her behavior is strange. More importantly, they discover if they can get her committed as insane, they can inherit her wealth. And that is exactly what they do. They get her committed to an asylum, and they are able to have her committed to a horrible condition. She's completely it is unfortunately typical of the time period. Women and men, but primarily women, could be committed to asylums for a variety of reasons. I heard some of them, like postpartum depression, but there's also some issues where they're not mentally insane or have any mental issues at all. Sometimes to get their wealth, sometimes to get a divorce, sometimes they're not doing what their husband wanted. There's all kinds of different reasons that sadly they shouldn't have been in an asylum, but that's where they ended up. And the conditions were so horrible. We do discuss mental health nowadays quite a bit, but back then they really didn't know how to treat people, and what they ended up doing was often inhumane. They were abusive. They didn't take care of the people, and that is what happened. This book actually spotlights some of the horror that Edith goes through and the trouble that people have to try to get her out. In the asylum, she meets Nellie Bly, who is an undercover journalist for The World. She is a true living person, or she was a living person. She did exist, and she actually wrote an article. She got herself willingly admitted into the asylum and did an article just spotlighting and telling just the horrors that she experienced as a sane person in this asylum. And thanks to her article, things start changing, and she becomes famous, rightly so, for her efforts. And like I said, this Edith's story, thankfully it's a positive ending. There's a happy ending. There's a little bit of a romance aspect to the book, and but in a way it is also kind of disturbing just to think about that this is based on true events. Even Edith is based on a true life character. A lot of there's a lot of fiction added in, but yet there is a lot of truth to what did happen, and especially some of the events that they talk about. I would recommend this book. There's other books within the series. There is a book called The Purple Nightgown, and It is by A.D. Lawrence. It's actually book 10. It's about Dr. Hazard, who comes up with the fasting cure that she believes it will cure all ills, and is a true woman. She did exist. She was a doctor, more of a quack than a doctor, but she basically talked people into fasting, and she literally fasted people to death. She actually starved people to death. She is one of America's first serial killers. So if you're looking for that book, that is The Purple Nightgown by A.D. Lawrence. Like I said, the whole series, the True Color series, is really good. That's why I've spotlighted them more than once. But check these out, and I hope you enjoy them. They are in print and ebook versions. I hope you enjoy the book. I will see you next time. So long.